Live on television, tensions erupted like never before. Joy Behar, one of The View's boldest voices, was pushed to her limit after a fiery confrontation with Gwyneth Paltrow. Voices were raised, cameras cut early, and the studio was left in stunned silence. Within hours, clips went viral, and fans everywhere were left asking, did Joy Behar just walk off The View for good? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Now, let's dive into what really happened. No one saw this coming. What started as a normal, everyday episode of The View slowly transformed into a moment that would shock viewers, spark controversy online, and leave fans questioning the future of one of daytime television's most outspoken voices. Millions of viewers tuned in expecting exactly what The View is known for. Bold opinions, light humor, friendly debates, and the familiar chemistry among its hosts. The atmosphere at the beginning of the show felt relaxed and upbeat. The hosts laughed, exchanged warm greetings, and welcomed their guest with smiles. Everything appeared perfectly normal. That guest was Gwyneth Paltrow, Hollywood actress, entrepreneur, and founder of a globally recognized wellness brand. Her appearance had already generated buzz. Supporters admired her success and influence, while critics questioned the impact of celebrity-driven wellness advice. Either way, viewers knew the conversation could get interesting. At first, it did in a pleasant way. Gwyneth spoke confidently about her latest projects, her approach to self-care, and the philosophy behind her brand. Joy Behar listened carefully, adding a few light-hearted jokes that drew laughter from the audience. The other co-hosts chimed in, creating the impression of a balanced and engaging discussion. But beneath the smiles and polite exchanges, something was shifting. As the conversation moved deeper, the topics became more serious. The discussion turned toward celebrity influence, especially the responsibility public figures have when promoting health, wellness, and lifestyle choices to millions of followers. The energy in the room subtly changed. The jokes slowed. The laughter faded. The air felt heavier. Joy Behar, known for her sharp tongue and fearless questioning, leaned in. Her tone became more direct. What sounded like curiosity at first slowly began to feel like challenge. Gwyneth remained composed, but viewers could sense that she was being pushed outside the comfort zone of a typical promotional interview. Audience members noticed the shift immediately. Some leaned forward in their seats. Others exchanged glances, sensing that this wasn't going to stay calm for long. The co-hosts appeared more cautious, choosing their words carefully as the conversation edged toward sensitive territory. Joy questioned whether celebrities truly understand the influence they hold over vulnerable audiences. She emphasized accountability, suggesting that fame comes with responsibility, not just profit. Gwyneth responded firmly, defending personal choice and individual freedom, making it clear she stood by her work. What made this moment powerful wasn't raised voices, it was the tension. Every sentence carried weight. Every pause felt longer than it should. The discussion no longer felt like television, it felt personal. Viewers watching from home could feel it too. Social media later buzzed with comments saying, something felt off, and you could tell this was about to explode. By the end of the segment, it was clear that something significant had happened. The calm surface of the show had cracked, revealing deep differences in perspective on, possibly, patience. Rumors soon began to circulate that this confrontation may have pushed Joy Behar closer than ever to walking away from the show she helped define. And that was only the beginning. The shift was sudden but impossible to ignore. What had begun as a thoughtful conversation took a sharp turn the moment Joy Behar raised a question that cut deeper than expected. She asked about the responsibilities celebrities carry when promoting health, wellness, and lifestyle advice to millions of people who trust them. At first, the question sounded reasonable, calm, even curious. But as Joy continued, it became clear she wasn't asking for a surface-level answer. Joy Behar has built her career on saying what others won't. Her humor is sharp, her opinions direct, and her approach unapologetic. On this day, she leaned into that reputation more than usual. She pressed the issue, pointing out that celebrity advice doesn't exist in a vacuum. It reaches people who may not always question what they hear. Gwyneth Paltrow responded with confidence. She spoke about personal choice, empowerment, and the importance of individuals deciding what works for their own lives. Her tone was calm, controlled, and clearly practiced. She emphasized that her brand encourages exploration, not blind following. But Joy wasn't satisfied. Her tone changed. The playful edge in her voice disappeared, replaced by firmness. Her follow-up questions came faster and sharper. What once felt like a conversation now felt like an interrogation. The studio energy shifted almost instantly. The audience grew quiet. You could feel it in the room. The kind of silence that makes every word louder. Laughter stopped. Applause faded. Even the cameras seemed to linger longer on facial expressions than usual. The other co-hosts noticed it too. Some leaned back in their chairs. Others glanced nervously between Joy and Gwyneth, unsure whether to step in or stay out of the exchange. No one wanted to interrupt, but no one could ignore what was happening. Gwyneth, visibly surprised by the intensity, began pushing back harder. Her facial expressions tightened. Her responses became shorter and more defensive. She challenged the idea that she was responsible for how people interpret her advice, suggesting that accountability ultimately lies with the individual. That's when the tension truly peaked. Joy countered by questioning whether influence can ever be separated from responsibility. Her words weren't loud, but they were loaded. Each sentence felt deliberate, as if carefully chosen to make a point that couldn't be ignored. This wasn't shouting. This wasn't chaos. It was controlled confrontation, and that made it even more uncomfortable to watch. Viewers at home later described the moment as intense, awkward, and hard to look away from. Social media clips showed raised eyebrows, long pauses, and stiff body language that told a bigger story than words alone. What made this moment stand out wasn't just disagreement, it was how personal it felt. Two strong, influential women, two very different worldviews, neither willing to soften their stance, neither prepared to step aside for a few tense minutes. The View stopped feeling like a talk show and started feeling like a battleground of ideas played out live, with nowhere to hide. And when the segment finally ended, one thing was clear. The fire had been lit. There was no turning back. According to insiders and longtime viewers, this moment wasn't just about one guest, one question, or one heated exchange. For Joy Behar, it appeared to be the breaking point, the final straw after years of mounting pressure. Constant controversy, and non-stop on-air battles. Joy Behar is not new to conflict. She has spent decades on The View, earning a reputation as one of daytime television's boldest and most fearless voices. Over the years, she has debated politicians, challenged celebrities, and gone head-to-head with public figures who many others were afraid to confront. She rarely backed down. In fact, controversy often seemed to energize her. But this time felt different. Those watching closely noticed a shift. The moment the segment began to wrap up, Joy's usual sharp humor disappeared. Her body language stiffened. Her facial expression grew tight, almost controlled, as if she were holding something back. Then came the comment. As the discussion concluded, Joy allegedly made a brief but pointed remark that reportedly stunned both the audience and the panel. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic, but it was sharp enough to change the atmosphere instantly. Almost immediately, the cameras cut to commercial earlier than expected. That sudden break raised eyebrows. Viewers at home sensed something was off. Social media quickly filled with posts asking the same question. Why did they cut so fast? Speculation spread that producers were stepping in to de-escalate the situation before it spiraled further. When the show returned from commercial, the difference was impossible to miss. Joy Behar wasn't the same. She sat quietly. She avoided eye contact. She spoke less than usual, and when she did, her voice lacked its familiar spark. The woman, known for dominating conversations, now seemed withdrawn, distant, and emotionally exhausted. The other co-hosts appeared cautious, almost protective of the moment. The energy across the panel felt restrained, as if everyone was walking on eggshells. The lively back and forth that usually defines The View was gone. Viewers noticed. Many later said it felt like watching someone mentally check out in real time. Comments flooded in, saying things like, "Joy looks done, and you can tell something serious happened." By the end of the episode, the tension hadn't lifted, it lingered. Behind the scenes, reports soon began to circulate that Joy Behar had walked offset feeling deeply frustrated, emotionally drained, and possibly disrespected. Sources claimed she felt the exchange crossed a line not because of disagreement, but because of how personal and relentless it had become. For someone who has weathered decades of criticism and controversy, this reaction spoke volumes. Insiders suggested that Joy had already been feeling the weight of constant public scrutiny, changing audience expectations, and the evolving tone of daytime television. This confrontation, they said, may have pushed her to seriously question whether it was time to step away. Not for drama, not for headlines, but for peace. By the time the episode ended, one thing was clear to viewers everywhere. This wasn't just another heated moment that would blow over. This felt like goodbye energy, and whether Joy Behar truly decided to quit, or simply needed space, the message was unmistakable: she had reached her limit. Within hours, the internet caught fire. What happened on The View didn't stay on television, it spilled straight onto social media, where clips from the episode began spreading at lightning speed. Short videos, slowed-down reactions, and zoomed-in facial expressions flooded timelines. Across multiple platforms, fans analyzed everything, every word Joy Behar spoke, every pause Gwyneth Paltrow took before answering, every uncomfortable glance between the co-hosts. Nothing went unnoticed. Some viewers applauded Joy, calling her brave for asking questions others wouldn't dare to ask. They praised her for speaking the truth and holding powerful figures accountable. To them, Joy represented honesty in a media world that often avoids tough conversations. But not everyone agreed. Others accused Joy of going too far. They claimed the questions felt aggressive, unnecessary, and personal. Critics argued that the segment crossed the line between debate and disrespect. The comment sections turned into battlegrounds, with fans passionately defending their side. Soon, hashtags began trending. Entertainment blogs and news outlets jumped on the story almost immediately. Headlines questioned what really happened behind the scenes and whether this confrontation signaled something much bigger. Was this just another heated daytime TV moment, or the beginning of the end for one of The View's longest-running co-hosts? The silence only made things worse. Neither Joy Behar nor Gwyneth Paltrow released a detailed statement in the immediate aftermath. There were no clarifications, no explanations, no calm-down messages. That silence created a vacuum and speculation rushed in to fill it. Rumors began circulating fast. Some claimed Joy had stormed off set. Others suggested she felt betrayed by producers. A few even said she was already in talks to step away from the show permanently. While none of these claims were officially confirmed, they spread rapidly. Fueled by emotional reactions and viral commentary. Behind the scenes, producers were reportedly scrambling. According to sources, emergency meetings were held to manage the fallout. Public relations teams worked overtime, attempting to shape the narrative before it spun completely out of control. The goal wasn't just damage control, it was survival. The View has faced controversy before, but this felt different. Fans began asking serious questions. What would the show look like without Joy Behar? Could it survive without one of its most recognizable voices? Was the chemistry already broken? Longtime viewers expressed fear that the show was losing its identity. Joy wasn't just another panelist, she was history. Her presence shaped the tone, the debates, and the very reputation of the show. Meanwhile, every new post, every leaked insider quote, and every reaction video kept the story alive. Even people who hadn't watched the episode were suddenly talking about it. Whether planned or completely unintentional, the clash had transformed into a full-blown media storm. What started as a single conversation had now become a cultural moment, one that forced audiences to reflect on celebrity influence. media responsibility, and the emotional toll of life under constant public scrutiny. And as the noise grew louder, one question echoed everywhere: was this truly the beginning of the end? This moment wasn't just about a disagreement between two famous women on a daytime talk show. It exposed something much deeper about television, influence, and the pressure of always being on. The View has built its legacy on strong opinions and fearless debate. From the very beginning, conflict has been part of its DNA. Audiences tune in not just for information, but for sparks, for moments where different perspectives collide. That formula has kept the show relevant for decades. But this incident revealed the thin line The View constantly walks. The line between healthy debate and personal confrontation. Joy Behar has long stood at the center of that balance. She represents unapologetic honesty. She says what she believes, regardless of backlash. For many viewers, that's exactly why they love her. She has become a symbol of speaking freely in a world that often feels overly cautious. Yet even the strongest voices have limits. Years of non-stop controversy, public criticism, and emotional labor can take a toll, especially when the cameras never stop rolling. This clash felt different because it wasn't playful or theatrical. It felt raw. It felt real. And that's why it struck such a nerve with viewers. If Joy Behar truly steps away from The View, it would mark a defining turning point for the show. Her departure wouldn't simply mean replacing it would mean losing a piece of the show's identity, its history, its sharp edge, and a voice that shaped countless conversations over the years. For longtime fans, imagining The View without Joy feels almost impossible. At the same time, the show would be forced to evolve. Producers would have to rethink tone, direction, and even purpose. Do they continue chasing viral moments? Or do they pull back, focusing on balance over shock? This incident has made that question impossible to ignore beyond the show itself. This clash reopened larger conversations about celebrity influence and accountability. How much responsibility do public figures have when they speak? Where does personal choice end and public impact begin? These are questions audiences are clearly hungry to explore, but they also demand careful handling. The moment also highlighted how quickly modern media can turn a single exchange into a global event. A few minutes of television became headlines, debates, and endless speculation. In today's digital world, there's no pause button, only replay, rewind, and reaction, and that reality puts enormous pressure on everyone involved. One thing is absolutely certain: viewers won't forget this episode anytime soon. It will be replayed, analyzed, and referenced for years to come. Not because of shouting or chaos, but because it revealed something honest and uncomfortable. Whether Joy Behar officially quits The View or returns with renewed strength, this heated clash with Gwyneth Paltrow has already secured its place as one of the show's most unforgettable moments. It wasn't just television, it was a reminder that behind every opinion is a human being. Even the loudest voices eventually need to be heard, not pushed, and for now, the world continues to watch, waiting to see what happens next.